Hey, it's Jennifer with Pigskins and Pigtails. Today I want to show you how easy it is to screen print on paper bags. Let's take a look at the supplies you'll need for this project.
To screen print on paper bags, I recommend using a screen printing frame with a hinged base. If you don't have one of these, you can use a loose frame, and I'll show you how to do that later in the video. Next, you'll need your design cut on Oracle 651 vinyl and weeded. I mirrored my cut, and you'll see why in just a bit. You will also need a squeegee, transfer tape to transfer the vinyl to your screen, a scraper tool to smooth out the vinyl, a spatula to scoop out your ink, and paper bags. I'm using Speedball acrylic ink for this project. This is different from their fabric ink. This ink is intended to be used on paper. However, if you only have fabric ink on hand, you can use fabric ink as well. But if you're going to do a lot of paper printing, I would recommend getting acrylic ink. Let's get our screen printing frame set up to print, and I'll explain my top 5 tips for successfully printing on paper bags. I'm using my transfer tape to grab the vinyl and stick it on the back of the screen printing frame. The placement on the screen isn't crucial here, I'm just eyeballing it around the middle of the frame. Then you'll peel off your transfer tape. My first tip is to use a hinge frame with this process. This allows you to place the bag under the screen and line it up with the vinyl design. Once it's centered and in the spot you want to print on the bag, I'm going to mark the placement of my bag with some tape. Now when I'm screen printing a bunch of these bags, I know exactly where to place the bag, and the screen will come down in the perfect spot on each one. Now we want to tape around the vinyl with painter's tape so ink doesn't go through the open areas of the screen. I'm scooping, maybe a tablespoon of ink along the top of my screen. My tip number 2 is that I only squeegee over the design one time. I'm using a squeegee that is wider than my design so that I can use just one coat of ink. T-shirts need more ink to soak into the fibers, but with paper, you just want to cover the paper. If you go over it too many times, the ink is going to bleed under your vinyl. This can also cause your vinyl to loosen on your screen, messing up your design. So, less is more when it comes to screen printing on paper bags. Once you finish printing all of your bags, my third tip is to let them air dry. I've left these out for about an hour and they are dry to the touch. Depending on your room conditions, you may need more or less time, but once they are dry, you're done. You can stack them up and use them right away. There's no need to heat set ink on paper bags. If you don't have a hinge frame, my fourth tip would be to mark a spot for your bags on your table. Then you want to line up the frame in the right position like we did before and mark where your frame should go. I've marked the bottom corners, which you can't actually see in this video, but the key is to make sure that you have an easy way to line up your screen with your bags so that you can make as many of these as you need, and the design will be placed in the right spot on each bag. Picking the right kind of bags is my 5th tip. The first bags I used were extremely flat. There were no bumps or creases. These handled bags have a few challenges. You have the handles that get in the way, so I'm going to print these upside down so my handles can hang out the end of the frame. Then I'm going to put a board inside the bag. This is going to help even out the top layer of the bag and give me a smoother surface to print on. Any bumps in your bag can create gaps where ink will leak through, so you want to have your surface as smooth as possible. These are my top 5 tips for printing on paper bags. If you found this video helpful, be sure to subscribe to my channel and check out my other screen printing videos.